Hey guys, it's Staci and Hutch, and apparently our bosses thought that we didn't talk enough.
So we're going to do a podcast.
We're going to say too much. Hopefully we don't get fired, but it's a podcast, so they can't fire us for having our own thoughts.
And we don't get paid for this, so how can you fire from something that you don't actually do for a job?
You're not getting paid?
No, are you?
Let's start the podcast. All right. Hello, everybody. Hey, Stace.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. Welcome back from your trip to Missouri.
Oh, misery.
Missouri.
It's great to be doing the podcast back again after that little holiday weekend that we had. And we're starting off the another episode with someone pretty awesome, pretty cool. I would say so myself.
I've known him 5 whole minutes, and
Seth
I'm already
Power.
a fan.
Yeah. Hey.
Hi, Seth Power.
Hello, how y'all doing?
Good. How are you, man? You just got
doing
off the flight. So flights are being canceled, and
Yeah, it was kind of crazy getting here. The universe was conspiring against me, but we figured it out, and I pulled in the parking lot right on time.
Good job.
Even with all the delays, so we're
Johnny
here.
on the spot.
but you're alone. You have no like makeup team, no video
Nothing.
team, no social media team, no manager. It's just you, which
It's
is
just me.
rare.
I know. Yeah, they got stranded along the way. I was the only survivor of the cancellations. So it just got to the point where it was like, can we get Seth there at bare minimum? And that's what we figured out. So
You know, we weren't around, by the way, for your son's birth. So happy dad to you,
Thank
new
you.
dad to you.
I appreciate it. That.
How is it going?
It's going well. He's a year and a half, so he's kind of in that phase where he's adorable, but he's very
Starting to knock you over.
yes, yeah. He really he doesn't understand how strong he is,
Oh.
and he loves to throw things. So anytime he gets something in his hand, it's like everybody just ducks for cover. He'll pick up a cell
Kind of
phone.
like Staci.
Yeah,
Yeah. When no one knows her own strength, she doesn't know her own strength.
Just
She
don't
starts
make
throwing things.
Just don't make me mad. That's all.
yeah. So it's a little bit stressful, but I don't sleep as much anymore. But yeah, as a whole, I mean, super happy. My wife wants to have like 4. So
Are you serious?
yeah, say your prayers.
Did you know this before you married her?
I don't remember if we talked about it or not.
Oh my God.
I might just have like amnesia over the subject, so I'm not sure. But
Well, when you take a look at her, she's absolutely gorgeous. You probably say anything you want, dear.
exactly.
I was watching one of your music videos, which is, your wedding video.
Right.
Oh, it is so fun to watch. I've watched it like 3 times now. It's beautiful.
That was a really special day.
Yeah.
Are you surprised at how viral it went and how big it got? The video?
A little bit. It was not. It was funny because it wasn't really planned. We didn't we had the wedding. I actually wrote "I Do" the weekend before.
No.
So yeah, it's kind of a funny story. I went on a songwriting retreat the weekend before my wedding, which did not go over very well with
I'm sure not.
with all the interested parties. And so while I was there, it was funny. I actually wrote "Going Somewhere" and I wrote "I Do" in the same weekend. And what was funny is that I primarily focused on "Going Somewhere," and I was walking out the door and I turned around and I played that first riff from "I Do" to somebody in the room. I said, "What do you think about that?" And he said, "It sounds like a wedding song." And it just that was like a moment for me. And
Can you play that first riff real quick?
Yeah.
What you played that morning of and how it kind of went? You could just play from there. It's fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll move.
Yeah, I was literally walking out the door. Let me see if I can work around this here. I was walking out the door, and it just kind of popped into my head, and I was like, "Hey, I meant to show you guys this." I think I am gonna need
Ross, you want to move that forward a little more if you can? No, the headphone
Oh,
cord.
this thing?
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
the box.
that works.
the box. Yeah.
Perfect.
Will that go forward more or no?
Okay. Well, you can work with this. It's
You can
fine.
take your headphones off too if you want.
I could do it.
Okay.
Here we go. But yeah, so I just walked out the door, and I was writing with a guy named Walt Aldridge, who's a Nashville songwriter Hall of Famer. He's like 70 years old. He's incredible. And I just turned around and I said, "Walt, what do you think about this?" And he just stopped immediately, and he didn't even. Well, no, he did know I was getting married, but he said, "That sounds like a wedding song. You should write that about your wife." And I got in the car. I write a lot on the road.
Yeah.
There's something about being on the move that is very, very good for my creative process. And so when I hit bumps in the road as far as writing and stuff, I always jump in the vehicle and I start thinking and brainstorming from there. So on the way home, I wrote all the lyrics, and that was it. I got home, and the day of our wedding, I surprised her with it and performed it for her in front of everybody, and was super, super nervous.
Did you
Probably
do
the most
it
nervous I've ever been.
After the wedding or before the wedding?
During.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So, well, I guess
Was she mad that you made her makeup all?
Oh my gosh.
I guess I'm kind of lumping things together here, but it was officially like the reception, but it was very soon after the ceremony. I wanted to make sure that I could, personally, it was kind of selfish, but I just wanted to take the weight off my shoulders. And I was really nervous about it.
Oh, sure.
It's funny because I've played in front of a lot of people, and that was probably the most nervous I've ever been walking onto a stage with a guitar. But yeah, it worked out well.
Did you write a song about her before that?
I've written a lot of songs about her.
Any ones that came after a fight?
Oh.
Any ones that you're like either like an apology song or I'm still mad at you for doing this?
Honestly, I think it's mostly good stuff.
Yeah.
I think I've saved all the bad stuff for my exes. So.
Oh my gosh. Did you ever write one that she didn't know was about her and she said, "Was that about me?" Or anyone that say, "Did you write that about me?"
I feel like there's definitely a couple girls in my past that think that some of the songs are about them, and I'm not going to confirm or deny that because I want to keep it a mystery.
Sure,
but,
of course.
But yeah, there's been songs that I've written for my wife that she didn't know I wrote for her, and I just kind of had to reveal that at a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we've been together for 7 years, so we haven't been married that long, but we've been together for 7 years. So a lot of the stuff I've written recently has come from, it's been inspired by that relationship. And Going Somewhere was not one of those songs. Obviously, it's kind of a breakup song, so that's about other relationships that didn't work out. But with me and the way that I write and the way that music works for me is that there's no real time limitations. I always start with the music, and then I kind of let the emotion guide me into what the lyrics should be. And so it's an interesting process, and I just kind of let the songs lead me where they need to go, and then I just pull memories and piece it together based off of experiences.
It's crazy because when I listen to Seth, I think Seth can do something that a lot of artists can't. A lot of artists are fit into kind of one mold, or they may be able to go from country to pop or whatever it may be. But when I listen to you, Seth, I hear a little Ed Sheeran, or then once in a while I'll hear Rock Me Mama Like a Wag. I'll hear some Darius. And then all of a sudden I'll hear Ain't No Sunshine. When, like, in my head, it's really all over the place.
Yeah.
So you're combining so many different genres into a song. And even with like I hear a little Jack Johnson.
Yeah.
Love
Jack Johnson.
And so your music style is probably hard to explain.
It is. And I was at the hotel restaurant last night and was talking to a bunch of strangers, and I always get that question, what kind of music do you do? And I still kind of have a hard time explaining it.
You have your own sound, really.
Yeah, which is all, a matter of the fact that my generation, we grew up with access to everything.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be like, if you listen to a lot of older artists and they talk about their inspirations, it's always, my parents had these vinyls and they played these vinyls, or my dad had this 8-track and he played this. So that's what I grew up on. And now it's like we're in the digital age and everything is so incredibly accessible that I kind of bridge the gap, and I kind of straddle both worlds, because I grew up listening to records with my parents, James Taylor, Dan Fogelberg, James Brown, Bob Dylan, a lot of like famous big time singer-songwriters. And then my dad was really into the blues. A lot of like Keb Mo, Robert Johnson, because we're from Mississippi, and so there's a lot of amazing Mississippi artists that I grew up on as well. And so it all just kind of soaked in. And I don't think that I realized it at the time. I think it was a very, very subconscious process. But then when I started to write music and I started to sing and my voice started to emerge, I started to understand that, okay, there's a lot of different influences here. And a lot of it really was just a byproduct of growing up in this interesting place and space and time of having a little bit of that analog and then kind of being immersed in the digital. Once I got to be about, 12 or 13, 14 years old is when the streaming started and all that stuff. And so,
were you in your room downloading on Napster?
I was not on Napster. I was a LimeWire guy.
Me too.
So are you interested in putting your stuff on vinyl, or is that?
Yeah, I am. I really am. And
how cool would that be for your parents to hear that?
Yeah,
on vinyl.
They could put it on their wall and go, "That's our son."
Yeah,
it's funny. It's really hard to get vinyl right now.
I'm sure
it's really, really hard.
Yeah. Is it expensive for an artist to do vinyl?
It's pretty expensive, but it's not unreasonable. And just like with most things, if you order enough of them, then it makes sense to be able to sell them and stuff. So, I priced them out earlier this year, and the only reason I didn't get them is that, it got all the way to the point where we got into the production time, and they said, yeah, give us about 26 to 30 weeks. Well, that's 2023.
Yeah,
that's a long wait.
By the time that's out, I'll be on to
You'll
the
have a
next
new
thing.
song.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's kind of difficult. But it's funny you asked that. I was literally talking to a guy this morning out of France who presses his own records and does. He has his own lathe and he does all that stuff.
Really?
So we were talking
Wow.
about doing some small batch stuff.
Just make your own. Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool.
That's
Yeah,
for sure.
Especially for the real fans out there. You
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
surprising them with something. Let's get him set up to do some stuff here. And Stace, it's kind of crazy because we have artists that we talk to all the time, and like I mentioned earlier, they all bring their own team.
Yeah.
Seth just comes in
Yep.
with his guitar.
He's like, I didn't have a hairbrush.
Yeah, he's
look
like,
good.
my hair is just kind of. Yeah, you can grab your guitar. I know you wanted to take your
Sure.
headphones off for when you play, so you can go ahead and do that, and then we'll bring you up there, and then pull that one down. And do you mind doing me a favor? I saw you on TikTok the other day.
Sure.
Can you do a little warm up of Imagine?
Yay.
Oh my goodness.
No pressure.
No pressure. Pull that closer. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. It's man.
I think you did 30 seconds of it.
Yeah, it's funny as I learned it for that 30
Oh,
seconds.
did you?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you don't have to do. You did the Blackbird,
Do
and that
whatever
was
you want.
yeah.
Do
that
whatever
was-
you
like
want.
the Blackbird?
I like the Blackbird. Yeah.
That was the first song
That's
that
so
I ever
good.
learned how to fingerpick. That's like my whole.
It's hard too.
It's really hard. It
Yeah.
took me a long, long time.
Yeah.
Did you teach yourself how to play guitar?
So my mom taught me.
Oh, wow.
I come from a very musical family, and my mom taught me. So, all right. So,
What do you want to
So
do?
our
Yeah, you can. That's your singing mic, and then what do you want to do?
what do you all want me to do?
You do
I
whatever
thought-
you want.
I thought, we could do Going Somewhere. I thought we could do I Do.
Let's do Going Somewhere to start
You
with.
Going Somewhere?
Yeah.
Cool, yeah, sure. You ready for this 10 a.m. morning voice?
Is it groggy or is it?
I was warming up on the plane. I was getting a lot of weird looks.
Oh, yeah.
doing my lip trills on the plane.
You're like, well, sorry,
Yeah.
I'm a singer.
All right, let's do it. I sat and watched you walk away, believing I would be just fine. I thought that I could turn the page with a little space and time. And I've been getting wasted, wearing out the pavement, calling out your name as if you miss me too. I've been acting shameless out until the AM, waking up with girls who almost look like you. How did it come to this? Why did we call it quits? I always thought that we were going somewhere. Well, was that something more we both were looking for? I always thought that we were going somewhere. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I always thought that we were going somewhere. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I'll take the burden and the blame for all the words I couldn't say. I'm more a sinner than a saint, but I loved you each and every day. Oh, and I'm still getting wasted, wearing out the pavement, calling out your name as if you miss me too. Spending every moment, staring at my phone in hopes that I might see another call from you. How did it come to this? Why did we call it quits? I always thought that we were going somewhere. Well, was that something more we both were looking for? I always thought that we were going somewhere. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I always thought that we were going somewhere. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I could say it's all erased. could say the same. How did it come to this? Why did we call it quits? I always thought that we were going somewhere. What was that something more we both were looking for? I always thought that we were going somewhere. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I always thought that we were going somewhere. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I always thought that we were going somewhere.
Nice job, man. Wow, that is
Thank you.
awesome.
Thank you.
How long did it take you to write that?
Like a week.
Really?
Yeah.
And you had the lyric, that's one. And you had a lyric first? Or
No.
you had the music
That
first?
was the one that he played outside.
Yeah, I started with the music,
Yeah.
and which is like 99% of the time I start with all music, and I started with this riff, and I was playing Blackbird earlier. You can see the influence there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's the chord structures and stuff, and I just play that over and over again, and that's typically what I do. I find a riff or a progression or something, and I play it over and over again, and it just starts to sink in. And then once I kind of slip into almost like somewhat of a meditative state, memories, it starts to kind of evoke memories and emotions and stuff like that. And that's sort of how I piece it together. And so with that, it just took me back to a specific time where, I was with someone else for years, and it was kind of like a close but no cigar. It was one of those things where we really thought that it was going to be a relationship that went all the way. And it kind of came to a grinding halt. So it was very shocking. And that for some reason, it was all of that stuff that came back to me whenever I was playing that. And so I knew that I had to capture that in a song, which it just fit well. And the words just kind of started to pour out. And honestly, the song came together really, really fast. The chorus took me a little bit longer. I came up with all the verses and everything. And then I was like, man, I really needed like a strong chorus. Mm-hmm. And so that took me, all the initial stuff came in the first 24 hours. It took me about a week to get the chorus down.
As a dad, I mean, it's for me, I don't know about the experience for you, but while my wife was in labor and before that, everything before that, I was such a different person. And then once I saw my son, he was the first one to be born.
Yeah.
I was such a different person. Has your music changed? Have your lyrics changed? Have you developed a different kind of take on songwriting since your son was born?
That's a great question. I think that it's definitely softened my heart a lot. And I think that definitely has an impact on the way that I approach songs. I've always tried to be as honest as possible, but I feel like this extra weight now with having a kid that like I need to, I do this thing all the time now. I think about years from now, him asking me, why did you do this? Why did you do that? And I just really want to have a good answer, And so when I write songs, it's like, am I writing something that means something? Is it meaningful? Is it just a derivative or is it unique? And so I think that there has definitely been an impact on me and just a greater appreciation for life, which I think kind of spills out into everything that you do, particularly songwriting. So yeah, I would say that there's definitely somewhat of a demarcation point from post-parenthood.
It's crazy because like as a dad, when I hear music and it's music like Seth's, and I'm sitting there and he's looking at me and I'm looking at him like I'm ready to cry.
I know, you're like connecting.
I can't imagine being the person writing the songs and singing it and playing the guitar and looking at him. It's just got to be an experience that A, doesn't happen to many people.
Yeah.
And B, it's got to be amazing.
It is amazing. And, it's funny. He's a year and a half. He already seems really, really drawn to music.
Are you sick of playing Baby Shark on your guitar? Like, are you sick of he wants that one again?
I can say I have never played a Baby Shark on my guitar.
Good. All right,
good. Don't go there.
Yeah, I'm really afraid to open that door. Who knows if we can ever close it again.
You've got so many things out there in your head and writing and the older stuff you've done. Do you currently have a melody in your head constantly? Is that something that you can't get rid of? There's always just some song playing in your head.
Yeah, for sure.
Like right now, what comes to you on the guitar? If I were to say, hey, play a melody, could you play something?
Yeah.
That you're thinking of or that you don't want to give away to another artist right now?
It's funny. You mentioned all the different, you mentioned all the different influences. And when I'm just thinking about melodies in my head, like I tend to go down like more like folksy spaces, you know? So like an example would be like a... That's kind of cheating because that's a song of mine, but I do a lot of that type of stuff.
I picture myself sitting, looking at the Smoky Mountains on my porch, and I just picture myself,
I get the Shutterfly thing says, "This is your memories from 12 years ago," and it comes up, and I'm like, "There I was at home, looking through my pantry," stuff like that.
100%.
What do you want to do for us now, man? It's up to you. We just love hearing you. So
I thought, I definitely wanted to play "Going Somewhere" for you guys. I thought if you wanted to hear I Do, I could do that.
Yeah, I just watched your video, so I want to hear the song now.
I've also got a new song that's coming out. I thought maybe if y'all wanted to hear,
let's do both of them.
Pieces and parts, or we can do both. Yeah, it's up to y'all.
If you want to do like I do a verse and a chorus, or, let's do
that. Let's do that. And when I wrote this song, I like I said, it was 1 week before the wedding, and so I actually was kind of putting myself in those shoes, like future shoes. I was thinking about what it's going to be like to be there. And so that's where a lot of the lyrics come from. But the first verse is actually inspired by the fact that my wife and I met each other when we were teenagers.
Really?
And I kind of fell for her back then. And so the first line is, who would have thought all we needed was time?
Wow.
To find ourselves back in each other's lives.
Wow.
That's amazing.
But yeah, here it is. This is I Do. And I'll just go through that first chorus.
Thought all we needed was time to find ourselves back in each other's lives. I thought we'd said our last goodbyes. This summer night is a picture of you dressed in moonlight. What a beautiful view to have till all my days are through. Can I change your name and claim your heart? I have loved you from the start. Every rainy day, every rising tide, I will be there by your side. Oh, how could I not fall for you when you say I do?
Nice. There you go.
Yay.
Thank you.
So what's this new song? What's it about?
It's funny. This is a funny story. I was doing a writing session with this guy up in Nashville, really, really talented producer, and we took so much time trying to figure out what song do we want to work on, and then we figured it out. And so he's setting up the session, and we're doing everything, and I just got struck, like kind of like you were talking about melodies going around in my head. I kind of got struck with this idea, and I started to play it on the piano, and he just stopped and he was like, "What is that?" I said, I have no idea. And he was like, "Let's work on that." And I was like, "Well, the other song is like halfway written. Like, why don't we do that?" And he was like, "No, let's do that." And so I wrote this song, and it's kind of in the same vein as Going Somewhere. It's called Fine. There's kind of an interesting story as to why it's called that, and why whenever I put it out, it's spelled F.I.N.E. So, but yeah, same thing. I just do like a little verse and a chorus.
Play as much as you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool.
Since you moved on, nothing's gone right. Sleeping all day, I'm drinking all night. I try to ignore thoughts in my mind, saying I'm not okay, 'cause I know the right time can heal these wounds. They say I can make your memory fade. Every night I lie awake, thinking thinking of what I might say. Like, how are you? How's your life? Is your mom and them alright? Did you finally find the love you're looking for? How am I? I'm not sure. Freaking out, insecure, bit neurotic and emotional from time to time. I guess you call it fine, fine. Between you and me, I'm feeling F-I-N-E. Since you moved on, things fell apart. I tried to be strong, but here we are. Miss your head on my shoulder, your lips on mine. I miss how we would stay up and talk all night.
Is that good?
Man, I could listen to that forever. That was
Cool.
that was amazing, man.
Thank you. So it's funny. When I play that song on the guitar, it sounds like kind of country to me. I don't know if y'all felt that at all.
Yeah, I could see that, but I think you could make it whatever you want it to be.
It's so it's so pop.
Music has become so
cross. You could cross it.
Yeah, not even cross, but it's the interpretations have changed so much from what it was even 5 years ago, where you knew, okay, when I hear Shawn Mendes, that's a Shawn Mendes song, or when I hear
Carrie Underwood would be
Carrie
Underwood definitely on this chart.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, you can.
Especially with your stuff. Anyway. Yeah, like I said, your stuff is so Darius, Jack Johnson. It's just Bill Withers. It's just everything.
Now a good song is just a good song.
Yeah, that's it's so interesting that you have created. Very few have created what you can with your genre. Which again is when you're at a bar with people you don't know, and they're like, "So what type of music you play?" You go,
I always lead with singer-songwriter, which I don't even know if that's like the most accurate. Again, it's difficult.
What do you enjoy more, singer-songwriting or performing?
Oh,
that's hard to say too.
That's so hard.
I would imagine anything that you've written is more fun than anything that someone else wrote.
Yeah, they're so different. I love performing. I performed a lot in college. Like I've played hundreds and hundreds of shows, and it was such a learning process. And now I feel super comfortable on stage. It's like it's very conversational. It's very like, I'm Seth. And it's nice to meet you. Like that's what it feels like every time. Is like we're going through this process of you don't know me, but in the next half hour to 45,
you're about to.
You're gonna know me. Yeah.
When you are out so much, how does that affect the marriage? Is it something where your wife understands and it's hard? I mean, listen, it's part of the deal.
It's part of the deal.
Yeah, 100%. No, she gets it. She's super supportive. And we kind of, I don't know if you call it lucky. It's probably the wrong word to use, but we were in an interesting situation where we got married in 2019. And then 2020 happened. Mm-hmm. And so we kind of like were in quarantine together, and there were moments where obviously that was a terrible event for all of us to have to go through. But we definitely had moments where we were like, man, like what are the chances that we would have this opportunity so early in our marriage to have this type of time together?
Yeah.
And I think it set a really strong foundation. And so, from there it's just been a building process, but no, she gets it. She's jealous mostly. She wants to travel.
Trust is so important
100%.
When it comes to you and what you do. Well, first off, in any relationship, but to add you traveling all the time, she's home with a kid, and sometimes she might not know even what city you're in or what state. I mean, it must be hard. So to have the trust of a normal relationship and then amplified to this, is
she musical?
Crazy. She has a beautiful voice, but she would never sing in front of anyone. You know what I mean? She has that kind of Disney voice.
Oh,
it's almost
yeah. Well, maybe you can talk her into some backing vocals for you sometime.
We've talked about it.
That'd be cool.
I have some songs that are just laying around that I think would be better for a female vocalist, and I've asked her to like demo them for me. And yeah, it's a work in progress.
Well, feed her some wine first.
Well, we appreciate you coming in, man. I know absolutely. You've been thrown around on different planes, different cities, and different states the past couple days. And let's throw your socials, by the way. Your TikTok is
Seth_Power.
And then Instagram and
Seth Power Music.
Okay.
Yeah, and same on Facebook, which I'm probably more active on Instagram. working on the TikTok thing.
Man, when someone uses that original sound,
Yeah.
you're gonna just.
It's obviously become such an enormous part of the music industry, and it's funny because it's something that I have, like social media in general is something that I kind of struggle with because I'm actually really introverted. I'm what I would call like a social extrovert, but when I'm not around people, the idea of like picking up my phone and doing something and kind of like projecting it out there into the ethers, like it doesn't come very naturally, and so it's been a learning process, trying to connect all the dots and stuff.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, and but it's at the same time, like when you're super intentional about it, and people start to reach out to you and say, hey, this video or that moment that you had or that thing that you captured or that photo of you and your kid, was really touching. It really spoke to me. That's when you realize that it really is a blessing. It's just about like.
It's a lot of work. It's what it is.
It's a lot of work,
and everything changes. You got to keep up with the changes, and I'm tired.
And the dude has his phone number, by the way, on his Instagram.
Yeah,
you can text him if you want anytime.
Speaking of trust,
I know, right?
Well,
yeah, that's my like SMS like fan club, if you want to call it that. So. It's not my personal number, but yes, I am.
But you can check it all the time.
I honestly carry on conversations with fans.
It's cool.
There's this little girl in Canada whose father has been messaged me a lot, and it's amazing. It's like they don't even believe that it's me. They're always like, every time they're like, "Is this even you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's me." Like,
it's a staff member.
I created this. I created this because like this gives me life. Like talking to people. Having them share stories about, I was driving down the road and I heard the song and it hit me at the right time. And like, that's the stuff that really speaks to me because it's really easy to get caught up in the quantitative side of things and to always play the comparison game and be like, man, I wish I was, as big as that guy or that artist or whatever. But it's important to remember that every single one of those numbers is a real human being, and that's what, that really helps me. Like when people reach out and they always act like they're bothering me. I'm like, no, I mean, yeah, don't message me all the time, but like if you want to reach out on occasion and just say hello and
I bet it helps you too to like connect, like hear how people connect to the songs too, because I'm 100%. Sure people can like, oh God, that song reminds me of a time when, or I understand because this happened to me, so that really feels like you wrote it for me, that kind of a situation. And it probably inspires new songs for you.
100%, and that's just kind of the magic of music, is being able to provide those moments. I mean, that was, I'm obviously a huge fan and of music in general and a lot of different artists, and that's what inspired me to write. Having those moments in life where I'm just, the only thing I can think about doing is getting in my car and driving around and listening to music, because that's the only therapy that's going to comfort me and make me feel, like I can get through whatever it is that I'm going through. And so that was ultimately what drove me to be an artist, was I knew that I had the tools, and so it was just a matter of, okay, how do I put this together and make this work?
Well, to find out more about what you do and do your songs and where you're going to be, SethPowerMusic.com. That's where you can go for everything Seth Power. Man, we appreciate you coming and taking the time. I know it was a crazy kind of way to get here.
It really was, wasn't it?
But we appreciate you coming in, man.
I really appreciate y'all having me.
Well, thanks.
Thank you.